Hey everyone, my name is Kirsten. Welcome to my channel. I am an expat, a freelance writer, an entrepreneur, and a coach. And this is part 2 of my video series on my experience being a Black language assistant in Spain. And I'm going to talk about what my experience has been like. Again, this is my experience, my personal experience, to give you kind of an idea if you are a Black woman, or if you're a woman, a person of color, or just anyone curious about moving to Spain as a language assistant and kind of wondering what the experience might be like for you. I share with you my experience, but keep in mind that everyone's experience will be different. And my video, I'm going to talk about what my experience has been like on a day-to-day basis, what life is like, and I'm going to be answering some commonly asked questions about my life in Spain. So if you are just tuning into this series, part 1 of this video is on my channel, and I'll link it above and in the description below, so you can kind of check out and hear about what my experience has been like working within working within a public school in Spain. So the first thing I want to talk about is speaking Spanish. So I think there's a little misconception with the program, and a lot of when I was entered into the program, I was told it's okay, you don't need to speak Spanish, it's fine. Although a lot of the paperwork that you do, I think all of the paperwork that you do really, unless you go through a private organization, is in Spanish. So knowing Spanish is actually very important. Unless you go to Madrid or Barcelona or even maybe Valencia, a bigger city, you probably will interact and run into a lot more English speakers. But definitely if I didn't have, I like to call it a coffee level of Spanish, enough to order something at a restaurant, enough to have a basic conversation with someone about where you're from and all of those things. If I did not have that when I came in, then it definitely would have been a lot harder. My level of Spanish has increased, and I'm speaking Spanish practically every day, and I'm studying and blah blah blah. So that is one aspect of my experience. Spanish is definitely a must. Second question that I often get asked a lot is, even by my Spanish friends, do I experience racism, or have I experienced racism here in Spain? And on a day-to-day basis, thankfully, no. And on a day-to-day basis, walking down the street, I definitely get some stares and some looks, particularly by older Spanish men and women that kind of will stare without any shame. Sometimes I stare back just for fun. But I learned to just almost every time I leave my house, I have my headphones in. I kind of just walk. But everyone treats me very friendly. And again, I think it kind of goes back to the Spanish thing and trying to speak. Trying to a lot of the cultural habits, I want to say, or the cultural, what is it? Can't think of the word. But anyways, a lot of the daily cultural experiences is walking into a store and saying hola or buenas. People greet each other on a very regular basis. Every time you walk into an establishment, usually someone says hola, or greets you, and so always trying to kind of match that energy. It does not mean that at any moment, at any time, because racism does exist everywhere. It does exist in Spain, and it doesn't mean that at any moment I won't experience it just because I haven't experienced it before. There is a possibility of experiencing it in the future. I hope that never happens. I think the biggest challenge when it comes to race is, and I've told this to Spanish friends, to American friends, is ignorance. I think that a lot of people have not experienced a lot of Black culture, and also Black culture varies between like Black culture in London, Black culture in Europe, Black culture in the United States. And so a lot of the information that they might receive is like from TV or movies, and it's not always a realistic depiction of who we are as a culture and as people. So it is a lot of combating that ignorance. So the next question is, what is the average day in the life of an ox? So every ox's auxiliary language assistant, I use the word ox a lot, everyone's day in the life is going to look a little bit differently. But mostly what's really nice is, depending on the region, you're going to work, I think, between, I might not be sure about this, but I know you're going to work between like 12 and 18 hours. So depending on your school, if you have a really good school, you can kind of have all the days together, where you might go to the school in the morning and then work all day. Sometimes, I know my first year I went to school Monday through Thursday. Some schools will ask you like what day you want off. Not all schools. I would choose, most people do Monday through Thursday, because a lot of times Mondays will be holidays. So if you ask for like a Monday off, even though it's kind of nice to have a Monday off, it might not work out that well in the end, because there's holidays, so it's like you don't really get an extra day off. So Monday through Thursday you'll work. Sometimes you'll work like a half day depending on the number of classes that you have in the day. So usually your day can, depending on where your school is located. My school, the first year it was in walking distance. It was like a 20 or 30 minute walk. Now this past 2 years, my school was in a different town, so I'd have to wake up early. I would have to meet my coworker at a certain spot, and then my coworker would take me to the school, and the coworker would bring me back. So you'll have some early mornings unless you work really close to your school, and usually your days will span anywhere between like 8:30, depending on what level you're working with, to like I think between 3 or 4. I think most primary schools, I've only worked in primary, their hours are 9 to 2, so it's kind of nice. And then you have 3-day weekends all the time, not including holidays. So it's a really nice, so the day in the life. I walk everywhere. I don't have a car. There's public transportation, which I sometimes use, but there's going to be a lot of walking. And then the weekends you can spend traveling. Some people go out of the country on their 3-day weekends. Sometimes you can go to another city in Spain. I definitely have used my weekends to explore other parts, visit friends, get-togethers, and things like that. So next question is how do I make friends and things like that. So honestly, the first year I chose to have roommates, which can be one of the easiest ways to kind of make friends or get to know people is having roommates. A lot of the times you can connect to people over Facebook. I've definitely, in the last 2 years, I decided to live by myself. So making friends, a lot of the first year before COVID, there were lots of different events. Again, it will all depend on the city that you're placed in. If you are placed in a small town, it might be a little bit different meeting friends. So utilize the internet. Sometimes it might mean that you have to go to a town nearby to meet up with other people. Language I had a lot of language exchanges. Those are how I met a lot of friends. Couch surfing was also a big way that I met friends. I had the teachers at one of my first schools that I worked with. We were about the same age, so we became friends right away. In doing hobbies and just kind of going out hiking, there's lots of hiking groups. There's so many amazing hiking trails throughout Spain. So hiking, if you're a hiker, that's definitely a way to meet new people and make friends. Connecting to people online. There's a lot of different ways to make friends, and my advice, even when I was in Panama, my advice is never to force or rush friendship. And I think a lot of the times, we're eager to connect to people, especially when we start to feel homesick, and we want that connection, we want that human interaction, and that is okay if you feel that way, but don't rush or force any friendships, because you want to be with people that support you. You want to be with people that you feel comfortable with. So, some people right when they get here, they have like a ton of friends and they're going out all the time. Go at your own pace. Don't feel pressured to go out or do social events if you don't want to. Just, do the things that feel good. And if you're at an event and it doesn't feel good, you can always leave. So one thing that you really want to be careful of as an Aux, I've seen a lot of expats and travelers do this, and this is not a judgment. This is personally just something that I'm always cautious of, is how much I'm integrating within the culture with different groups of people. I honestly, actively, unless I'm going to be very honest, and if you don't agree with my opinion, that's okay. I tend to seek out people of different backgrounds, unless they are Black, because there's just a kind of a commonality, I think, between Black Americans, not all Black Americans, but most Black Americans. I definitely try to seek out people from different backgrounds. What's the point of, even though everyone is great, I don't see the point of going to another country and living in another country if you don't integrate into the culture in some way, shape, or form. If you're not interacting with people, if you're not getting to meet people, if you're not trying new foods, if you're not trying new hobbies, new things, learning the language. So I think that being an Aux, it can feel really comfortable to just kind of like, in the group chats, there's a lot of WhatsApp group chats for every region or city. There's probably a WhatsApp group chat, and it's very easy. I'm not saying avoid the people, and I'm not saying don't do the things and go out with other Auxes and other language assistants, but just making sure that you stay balanced with that, and making sure that you are doing both, and you're not just, or if you go out with Auxes, like, making sure that you go to a cultural event, go to a flamenco show, go to a local restaurant, try something. So I hope you found this video helpful. Stay tuned for part 3, which I can't remember what I said part 3 is going to be about, but I know I said I was going to do 3 parts of this video series, so stay tuned for part 3. Click the subscribe button, like this video if you felt it was helpful, and comment below on which piece of advice you thought was really helpful. And if you are someone that is coming to Spain in the Language Assistant program, let me know. Follow me on Instagram and we can connect. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. If you want to move abroad and maybe you're thinking Language Assistant is a route, but maybe not, let me know. I do, as a service, I do travel consultations, and so if you are really eager to move abroad but you're not sure where to get started, you're worried about the money, you're worried about all these other what-if factors, we can get together and create a foolproof, solid plan for you to move abroad. Ciao for now.